What's going on, everyone? My name is Silly Tales. Welcome to my channel, Silly Tales Reviews. It's gonna be an unedited, unfiltered discussion talk about a video game I beat once a week on Saturday. This week, we are diving right in to Tales of Arise, the latest in the Tales series. If you are unfamiliar with this series, like I said, unedited, unfiltered. I don't know that much about the series. I started off with Tales of Symphonia back in 2001 for the GameCube. That thing had 2 discs on GameCube. That was crazy. One of the most amazing RPGs I've ever played in my life. And I've played Tales of Vesperia, Tales of Vesperia, Tales of Abyss, Tales of this, Tales of that. Didn't beat any of them because they didn't gel with me. I didn't care for them that much. But Tales of Arise was given to me as a Christmas gift. And I was like, I don't want this garbage. Why would you get me this? This is crazy. Who wants to play this game? And let me tell you, after 54 hours later and a platinum on PS5, I wanted to play this game. This game was phenomenal. When I do these reviews, there's going to be no structure. We're going to see how this goes. No one's ever done something like this that I've seen before. Everyone's got it written out. They read the review that they wrote or that someone else wrote. It's structured. It makes sense. These are the ramblings of an Italian man. And maybe you'll like them, maybe you won't. That's cool. Don't worry about it. So, Tales of Arise. I'm going to try and keep everything as spoiler-free as possible. You start off as a gentleman named Iron Mask. Why is he named Iron Mask? Because he has a mask on his face made of iron. It's pretty self-explanatory. And you are a slave to a group of people called the Renans, and you are a Danon, and you happen upon this train transporting some cargo. What's this cargo, you ask? It's a woman by the name of Shion who has this crazy curse upon her where if you touch her, she has thorns. Not like, oh, a rose's thorns. No, like electricity thorns. So they look very frightening. And your name, Iron Mask, have this crazy power as well, where, 1, you have no memory, so that's not really a crazy power. But 2, you can't feel pain. So for the first time in her life, when you reach out and grab her, she recoils, thinking, oh no, don't touch me. You're going to hurt me. Or I'm going to hurt you. And no, that's not the case. She's like, oh my goodness, someone can touch me? This is crazy. Because he can't feel pain. But okay, the game, story-wise, was not what hooked me right away. I was like, this is a very stereotypical JRPG. It's good. It's a passable story. What hooked me right away after the very long cutscenes, the very long dialogue I was wading through, I was like, oh my god, get me to combat. And then the combat starts, and it's very simple at first. You are a swordsman, and she is a gun-toting badass. And you guys fight together, fight these armored Renin guards, and it is amazing. You have, 1 or 2 abilities called arts in the beginning, and by the end of the game, you have 6 members in your party. You can't even tell what's happening on the screen. There is mystic arts, there is boost attacks, there is flaming edge attacks. You have an insane amount of variety of what you can do to the enemies in spectacular, gorgeous fashion. I played on PS5, encountered no stuttering, no frame rate issues whatsoever. Phenomenal. So the story did not hook me at first, but eventually it did. I fell in love with all of the characters. 6 main party members. You got some side characters here and there. No one to really speak of except for Zephyr, who you meet right away. I thought he was amazing. All of the villains were great. There was quite a few. The premise of the game is you are trying to free the Danon race from their shackles of slavery. And in order to do so, you have to go to these different realms and defeat the lords that are ruling the area. And I was like, that sounds really cool, but this is a JRPG. It's not going to be that straightforward. And then it wasn't. Eventually, again, I don't want to spoil things too much, but things take a turn, and you're like, this makes a lot more sense as to where this is going. In these games, you start off fighting a rat, and at the end of the game, you fight a god. That's just how it is, and it works really well in this game. So the combat, for the first 25 hours, I was like, man, I am enjoying this so much, and I played 54 hours. Let me tell you, those 29 hours after the 25-hour mark, I was bored out of my mind. It was so repetitive. You found a couple new abilities here and there, but once you found the ones that really worked for you, that really gelled with you, it was like you didn't really want to switch that much. And you can take control of any of the 6 characters in the game whenever you wanted in the combat. And they all controlled well enough, and they were really fun to play. But I always just stuck to the main character, and he was just so powerful feeling. I didn't see a reason to ever have to change. You get to a training grounds eventually where you do have to use the other characters individually, and that was pretty fun to actually really get to use them and dive deep in them. But the combat, it did a 180 for me. Like, the combat was my favorite part, and the story was my least favorite. And then at the end, or in the middle, the story became my favorite. I was playing to see what happens. And then the combat was like, oh my goodness, can I just get through this encounter? But the boss fights were really good. I love playing games on the hardest difficulty. Always have, probably always will. I started this game on hard, and then I love collecting trophies. And there was no trophy for hard difficulty, and all it did was make the enemies have more health and do more damage. I don't like that. That's not a fun difficulty to me. So I actually wound up putting this on the easiest difficulty, which even still, like you pretty much you just take less damage, but the enemies still have the same amount of health. So the fights, the boss fights especially, could be very long, 5 to 10 minute affairs. And I just wanted to get through the game and platinum it, and I did, which entails a lot. Entails, you get it. You have to go through what's called 300 skits, which is every freaking 10 seconds you are walking. In the bottom right-hand corner, it'll say hit R1, and your 6 characters will interact with one another about what's happening in the world. Those are actually really enjoyable, very funny, emotional, insightful. I really enjoyed every single skit I watched. There is cooking in the game, which was very easy. It was literally find some ingredients, add a campfire, you cook, you get a stat boost, defense up, attack up, experience gain up. The other main collectible was artifacts, which were really cool. They give you like permanent boosts such as experience, like you get plus 20% more experience the entire game. More ingredients would drop from things. The game, that one of the best things I can speak of is that it was not very grindy at all, which is really rare for a JRPG. It was from if you just did all the side quests and all of the main story and just kept going, it was the only time I had to grind was at the end, like at the end. I had to grind a little bit. I was a little underleveled, even though I did everything up until that point. So maybe an hour of grinding there. And then in order to get the trophy to reach level 100, that was like maybe 2 hours of grinding at the end. So really great marks on not being a super grindy game. I think that the last fight, the last enemy you can possibly fight in the game, the only enemy that's level 100 in the game, was awesome. I didn't see that coming at all. It was phenomenal. It was so good. Maybe I should have written something down. Maybe I'll write something down next time and read off of that. Because, this is very incoherent, this review. But it's just the ramblings of a man that loves video games, that loved this video game. And I will do reviews on any game I beat in a week. I play 100 plus games a year, so I can easily do one review a week, 52 weeks in the year, obviously. Very easy. Tales of Arise, I highly recommend it if you like JRPGs. If you don't like JRPGs, I don't know if this is going to be the one to hook you. It's got really good combat that gets really repetitive pretty fast. You have this massive skill tree for each character that opens up when you do more things. Like maybe this certain side quest opens up a skill bubble that has 5 skills in it. And those skills can range from doing more critical damage to an actual skill that you can use in combat. And there's 400 skills to unlock, which I did, and did not feel like a chore to do. And every now and then, like when a new bubble unlocked, I was like, man, that's a really cool thing you get. All the characters were so lovable. The graphics were fantastic. I was playing on PS5, and I don't know how it runs on PS4, but there is a lot of fast travel in the game, and thank goodness for how fast the SSD is on PS5, because, oh my god, there are some times where you are fast traveling between realms 10, 15 times to do a quest, and on the PS5 it took maybe 5 seconds to get into a new area, which was, thank goodness. There was a fishing aspect to the game, which I liked a lot. It wasn't too hard. It wasn't too easy. There was 40 fish to catch. They were all really fun. I feel like there's one other main thing I wanted to discuss. I don't know. Okay, but let's wrap this up. This is rambling. This is running on too long. Phenomenal game. I give it a 9 out of 10. Absolutely pick it up if you have any interest in a really good story, 50 plus hours long, you want to sink your teeth into. We're in January right now. There's not that many games coming out. February is going to be a big month. So now's the time. If you're looking for a game to play, you want an RPG, fantastic combat, amazing graphics, wonderful story, heartfelt, emotional, funny. There's an owl in the game that acts as your main companion. That's the most adorable side animal kick ever. Cannot recommend this game enough. It was my second game of the year for 2021. I played a lot of games last year, and this one snuck in. I got it for Christmas, and it rose to the top of my list. Second game of the year out of nowhere. I'm very shocked by that. But thank you guys so much for watching or listening, whatever you chose to do. I think this is better to listen to, because who wants to look at this face talking about a game as ridiculous as I am? If you guys liked, please subscribe. Let's talk about the game down below. Anything you want to talk about, spoilers are good to go in the comments. I hope you guys have an amazing 2022. I need to think of a really good signature to sign off my videos. But for now, I'll just say I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, night, wherever you are.